All right, good evening, and welcome to the first of many, or few anyway, Selectmen / Finance Committee meetings. This is where we review the budgets that come in and meet with the department heads, or somebody representing the departments anyway. Like I said, this is our first. And can I please have a roll call?
Nicole Mello present on Zoom.
Mark Pacheco present.
And Peter Karen is here. Do you guys want to open your meeting?
Sure. March 3rd meeting of the Finance Committee, and we have a member on Zoom also, so we'll do a roll call. Start with
Susan Lorenz present.
Thomas Rougeau present. Peter Roach present. Jake Sevens present.
Tracy Carol-Sick present.
Doug
White present.
Thank you.
All right, great. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
You want mine?
If you don't mind. Oh, I appreciate that. We don't have a copy, but we can share it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
First up is overview of the proposed budget. That's you, Ralph?
Yes, it is. Okay, just giving a quick overview of the budget, just to sort of let everybody know where we are at, so. Again, the timeline, as you know, we begin the budget process at the end of 2025. January 2026, the budgets were due to the town administrator. In February, I went through all the budgets with the department heads and committees. As you know, given the unique circumstances this year with the potential debt exclusion, each department head, as you'll see as you go through the evenings, presented two budgets. March of 2026 is when we'll be reviewing the budgets with the department heads, and the April is recommendations, and then 2020 in May, you come back jointly and discuss the warrants, and annual town meeting will be June 1st this year. Okay. Just again for fiscal year 2027 proposed revenue overview. As always, efforts to plan the fiscal year 27 have centered on conservative budgeting. We do that every year. This year in particular, we have additional strains on our budget, as you know, as we pay within the tax levy our capital obligations to both BP and Bristol Aggie. This year, they amount to almost $810,000, $809 and change. New revenue, because it's 2.5, was about $587,000. New growth, we calculated at $280,000. We continue to, for our local receipts, we continue to sort of project conservatively for that. And then we only have the cherry sheet from the governor, and it's only $27,000 more than last year. Again, with that proposed expense overview, I just want to point out the department heads were asked to present two budgets, one factoring the no debt exclusion and the other factoring the passage of the debt exclusion. And I want to point out for the finance committee and for the selectmen that the no debt exclusion for the general government budget, and that's really the one we have the most control over than any of the other budgets we have. As we go through this process, the one for no debt exclusion, it's 1% less than last year's general budget. And as we go forward, that does include force reductions as we anticipated. The debt exclusion, if we get the debt exclusion, I want to point out that the general government budget is only 2% more than fiscal year 26. So even none of the department heads that they'll be coming in here will be, if they get a debt exclusion, nobody's going, nobody's going crazy. We still being very conservative in our budgeting process. Fiscal year 26, if we get the debt exclusion, includes no force reductions, but we are trying to increase some efficiencies with positions, so it does include that. And I just want to point out also that both budgets I put it in. I know the selectmen will be voting on it tomorrow, but there was a return of excess funds from DR in the amount of $750,000, and we're looking. I would say we should apply that if we apply it to next year's DR fiscal year DR budget, which we can do. DLS allows us to do that.
So that it's why it's so little, or it's not as basically impactful. If we didn't have that return, it would have been significantly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As I like to do, my one sheet, I know not the best, but it gives a great snapshot. People in the waiting room. So let me just run through this, then I'll let them in. This is no debt exclusion. We got a little bit of good news. Our group health insurance isn't as much as we thought it was going to be. I'm gonna say I'm still estimating a high on the DR school budget. I talked to Superintendent Rooney, and he says, well, it's going to be somewhere between 3% and 4%. I'm just keeping it a little high until I feel more comfortable when he shakes my hand and looks at me and tells me that number. Again, I have the 750 in there. As you can see, I have snow and ice deficit at $400,000. It might be a little high, but we had a rough year with snow and ice. Some things that we're not. Also, we have to factor in unemployment costs. So I have that at $50,000. As you can see, my use of we have approximately $950,000 in free cash. So as opposed to last year where I used free cash to cover general operating shortfall, all the free cash is used for one-time things. It's applying $200,000 to snow and ice, $50,000 to unemployment, 25 and 25 to stabilization fund and OPEB, and $55,000 to reserve fund.
Why isn't all of snow and ice free cash?
Why is it not all? Well, there's still some capital things that we have to take care of. We can.
Haven't we always paid it from free cash?
We apply free cash to it, not the whole thing. We don't pay the whole thing. It depends what the amount is. So, again, that's a number we could look at and adjust.
Okay.
Ralph, are you able to give us a copy of that at some point?
I can email it to you. I'll email
That'd
it
be great.
tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.
This is if we get the debt exclusion, as you can see, again, the general government budget number isn't, we're not killing you, the general government budget, but with the debt exclusion, I've lowered the free cash. I'm not applying it to, I'm not applying it to snow and ice. That's a decision you'll make as we move forward. But with the debt exclusion, it looks like we have maybe on the plus side, $510,000. Again, I'm just focusing on the budget without the debt exclusion. And again, I'll point out again, we have an excess levy capacity of approximately 106,000. As I explained, how do we apply free cash? Something to, in this budget, we're initiating a force reduction plan for fiscal year 27. And if we don't get if the debt exclusion does not pass, we're going to have to look at cuts into the future. I already said that each department head will be presenting 2 budgets. But if I could go take a step back again to talk about it, the debt exclusion does not pass. And these are some things, we'll be looking at anyway. But, we're gonna have to explore the shift in employee growth, group health insurance percentage. Explore limiting a curbside trash pickup. And then, when all else fails, we have to put the approximately half over.
One question, Ralph, I know this is round 2 on the debt override
Yeah,
attempt. Is there a limit to debt exclusion attempts?
no.
I just know because
Yes.
they may, I'm hoping that it passes this year, obviously. But when we talk about doomsday scenarios of it not, and then people don't think it's a big deal, and then next year we go through this again, and we know that it exponentially is gonna get worse.
Yeah.
Um,
I think realistically, when we get to that point, we should, we really should be looking at an override, because maybe it's just gone too far. That we have to look at an override.
right.
Where again, overrides, you have to express the purpose in the permit. As opposed to debt exclusion, I've been given the shtick for the past 4 days.
Right.
is for projects and it's limited.
Thanks.
And with that in mind, we always have to, we just can't think of this year, but next year we have to start thinking long term, and one day we're gonna be in a good financial position, which I believe, so, with that, we wanna start thinking about, what do we do? I think we should develop a 5-year plan to increase the Dayton Fire Department by 3 firefighters. This additional personnel would improve shift coverage and reduce overtime. Develop a future budget to increase the Dayton Police Department by 1 patrol officer to improve, again, shift coverage and overtime. These are some things, right, we could think when we have that funding. Develop a plan to replace the highway department aging equipment. Those 30-year-old trucks did a good job, this past week. How many more years can we get out of them? We've got this coming up, the Dayton Rehoboth School District, the reconstruction and replacement of Dayton Elementary School, that's coming up. That's probably coming up in the next year or so. And initiate scheduling of a new Dayton Fire Department facility. And in April, we're gonna be, we just completed the study on that. So that's gonna be presented to the selectmen. Sometime in the future, we should think of that. And that's it, in a nutshell.
The overtime for those 2 alone is north of $400,000 for just police and fire, so.
Is there overtime contractual? Is it part of their contract? No, the union contract, so they guarantee.
No, they have, so if,
I can't hear you too.
they have force numbers that they have to meet, that they have so many bodies in place and causes, like structural overtime. So it's like contractual, but they have to, that they have to enforce numbers, so leads to that situation.
But I think to your point, like all personnel, the normal wage is gonna be $1.50 to $1.75 in overtime, right?
Yeah.
So having full-time firefighters and another full-time officer to avoid paying overtime to another officer is going to be cheap.
Yeah. Saying that's Spanish.
Correct.
Want to go to Bristol County? Eric, can you, and so can you unmute yourselves, and are you gonna be doing your presentation? Do you want me to allow you to be the host so you can do your Hold on.
Oh, we can't hear him.
Can you guys, I know you're not on mute. Uh-oh. Well, we can't hear you.
Yeah, you might not have your mic on your side, Derek.
No.
Can't read lips.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go.
It's always a miracle as we come to these Zoom meetings that all of a sudden you pick the right mic, right? Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. I've got on the also here with us is Sam Stone, our business manager. She's going to go through the presentation, and town administrator, if you wouldn't mind giving Sam access to share her screen, she'll do that in a second. While you do that, I just wanted to thank the Board of Selectmen that I do see some of them on Zoom, and obviously the Finance Board for the town of Dayton. It's been a number of years that we've been presenting, and we appreciate the fact that we're just good neighbors with each other, and that's been some of the work that we've appreciated. Thank you, as we've kind of built this $105 million kind of mini institution here on the side of the bridge, and we appreciate all the help that the town has offered to us in this process. Pieces that we've been very considerate about is, as we look at the fiscal year 27 budget, there are 20 sending communities that are coming to Bristol Aggie that are in county, and an additional 15 that are out of county. And we were very conscientious as we're kind of looking through the budgetary process, knowing that our budgets in many different towns are quite strained and are having some difficulty as you kind of walk through those challenges. So we've presented it to our Board of Trustees, a preliminary budget, which they're going to be reviewing, and Sam will go into a little bit more detail specifically that you're reviewing now in your hands for the town of Dayton. So thank you for taking the time. I'm here to obviously answer the questions that are in place. I'm going to have Sam walk through the budget with you so you have a chance to understand where we're coming from, specifically related to the town of Dayton.
Sam, we can't hear you. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you. My docking station disconnected in the middle, so I just had to switch it over, and I didn't want to test while Derek was speaking. So let me just share my screen. So I just want to start off by thanking you again for taking the time to let us present our budget for you. I'm going to try to move a little quickly because I know you guys have some time, but I'm happy to answer any questions you may also have. Just a summary of our presentation. I'm going to go over just the Chapter 70 projections that were released from the state. They are the preliminary ones. They are not finalized as of yet. I'll have what we currently have held in the budget for in-county tuition for in general, as well as specific to Dayton, the same for the debt service, and then Dayton totals. The final slide will just be some upcoming important budgetary dates for Bristol Aggie, just so you guys can have it in your mind, in the back of your minds as well. So moving on to the first slide, Chapter 70 projections. As you can see here, Bristol Aggie, our enrollment for in-county students only, because that's what this is based off of, our October 1 SIMS numbers did go down from 527 to 523. Overall, our contribution for county, Chapter 70 preliminary is 11,465,528. It went up a total increase of 2.84%. On the next slide here, I just have the county contribution, as we call it, or everyone, the towns are specific to pay that roll up into the 6,124,000. And that specific I have highlighted just for Dayton. It shows the students for Dayton from fiscal year 26 to fiscal year 27. And that's based off of, again, the October 1, 2025 SIMS reports that were submitted. You guys did go down by 2 students. And it just shows that based on that, Dayton's total contribution to the county contribution that gets paid to us from the Chapter 70 is $399,000. So moving on to in-county currently, Our overall enrollment for in-county decreased this year from fiscal year 27 by 8 students. I'm currently right now holding a $200 increase per student. In the past, we have done a $400 increase year over year. Bristol Aggie, knowing that towns are struggling as well, and we're trying to be fiscally responsible. I'm holding a $200 increase right now in our budget, as I said. It is up for vote for the board, but that's what we currently have. Since Dayton, if you go to the next part of the slide, Dayton students I have from fiscal year 23 total enrollment through 27. Dayton did go down from 35 to 33 students. So with the $200 increase, there's still a decreased total in tuition of $2,234 for Dayton, just because of the decrease of students as well. And again, these numbers, they're based off of our October 1, 2025 SIMS numbers. We bill in arrears at Bristol Aggie. So moving on to debt service. Right now, we have not increased this or decreased this year over year. We're holding a $5,979.66. So with the student decrease for Dayton, the decrease is $11,959.32, which is the total amount per student times 2. So for the Dayton totals, I do have the comparison year over year. And then in the red, I have highlighted the change from the previous year. So as you can see in 24, it did go up. It went up a little bit more in 25, but this year, even with the little bit of the increase in tuition, the total amount owed to Bristol Aggie is projected to be a little bit lower by $14,000. Again, total decrease of 2 students. The total due for Dayton as of right now is projected to be around $349,000 for fiscal 27. And then these are just some upcoming dates for my budget timeline. I am presenting to my board and asking for a vote on tuition and debt on March 24th. And then I'm hoping to have a final board vote by April 14th. Those are all preliminary dates, but those are my hopeful targeted dates as of right now. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I am going to minimize the slideshow so that I can access any other files in case anyone has any questions.
Mark, do you have anything at this point?
I don't.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
I just have one question. It's the first year you've had a decrease in student enrollment, and was just curious if that was intentional or lack of applicants, or I wasn't sure if you approached the full capacity and you kind of thought, hey, we're good, we didn't need it, or what the thought process was around that.
So our application process last year was based off of, it wasn't the lottery, it was based off of different criteria that we had, and it was students based off of the towns. It wasn't anything targeted for the town of Dayton. It's just based on the students that accepted and who met our application and acceptance criteria at the time. And that's kind of how the cards fell for this October 1 SIMS number report.
Yeah, I was less concerned about the actual Dayton number. I was talking about overall. You've grown pretty consistently over the past 5 years, especially with the new addition and everything. And it's a slight drop, right? I'm not saying, but I was just curious whether if you think you've plateaued with enrollment heads, or is that kind of where you think you're going to stay in that area?
So we did finish our MSBA growth, and this year that we're in right now is our final year of growth. So we had our full enrollment of 640 students. So we are around the area where we should be for Chapter 70 numbers and student enrollment.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Do you guys keep any statistics on applications by town?
We do.
Yeah,
just out of curiosity, and more so thinking of the future, are the Dayton numbers roughly the same as they've been? And it's just a matter of there's 2 fewer students this year, or was there a change in applications this year as well?
Yeah, so we do keep track of our admissions, individual students who apply town by town, and how many students are accepted from town by town. So we can give you specific numbers, and we can send it over to the town administrator and chart out Dayton for the last 5 years. What we're finding is that there has been a decrease in applicants, And so from the town of Dayton. So we want to make sure that obviously we're keeping that open to any that are applying. This year, we just ran the lottery. And once we'll run the statistics of the lottery right now, I think it will be kind of telling to see. We've measured 5 years of enrollment based upon the original application process. And now things will be different. Now we'll be measuring it based upon the lottery process. So we'll give you the last 5 on the enrollment and application, and then we'll start anew with the lottery. So it'll be interesting. It's a great question. And I think the hard part about it, and we've had this discussion before with other town administrators and Board of Selectmen and finance committees, has been with the lottery process, there may be a disproportionality of towns who put in applicants. So like as an example, Dayton may, I'm gonna look at hypothetical numbers. Dayton may have 30 kids that apply, and in the lottery, they may get selected 8 kids. And that's just freshmen, obviously. That's not the total enrollment. We'll give you the whole aspect of it. But the fearful piece of it that we are concerned with the lottery is that Dayton may have 30 kids apply and 30 get in.
You'll hear us crying.
I know. And that's the conversation we've had with the Board of Education and the Department of Ed. And we spoke with that all the way to the legislatures because I think it's important for us to have some set of controls in the amount, not of applicants, but some sort of budgetary responsibility for the towns, especially taking a huge swing like that year after year.
Thank you.
No problem. Would it be helpful for us to send that tracking for you? Would you like to see the numbers of the 5
Yeah,
years?
that would be great.
Yeah.
More
Okay.
information, the better.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm also.
Good. Tracy?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck with you all. We appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You also.
Thirty freshmen not going, didn't you? I go to DR. Dang. Crushed it.
Yeah. I know, if boards are amenable to it, I know, we had a little, rearranging of the schedule. We were gonna have a reserve fund transfer request from the fire department, and they were gonna go right into their budget. They're not here right now, so I could fill the time, I could do my budget, and which also includes the commission on disability. So take it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Good. Just one question as we start this.
Yeah.
When we're going through a department budget, we're gonna do, and
Yes.
exclude and exclude.
So what happens is the first budget will be no debt exclusion. The second budget is debt exclusion.
Okay.
So starting, and I'll just go through all mine, then we'll go. Let me ask how do you want to do it? You want me to do the moderator, no debt exclusion, the moderator, debt exclusion? I'll do that. So this is pretty easy. Moderator salary was $250. We knocked it down we knocked it down by half. So the moderator salary, if we do not get a debt exclusion, will be $125. If we get the debt exclusion, it will remain at $250. Moving on to the board of selectmen. Again, as the salary of the chair, we're reducing it by half. So it was $1,250. Again, For the members, for the remaining members, $2,500, no debt exclusion. The salary of the administrative assistant, no increase the salary, so it's 38,774.16. The assistant, the BOS assistant, again, no increase the salary, 56,125.44. And then overtime, we have overtime at 750 in case. Going to if we have the we get the debt exclusion. The chair salary remains the same at $2,500. The members, again, the same, that'll be $5,000. The administrative assistant, we anticipated a 2% increase in salary that's reflected in 39584.60. And the BOS assistant, again, approximately 2% increase the salary to 57,294.74. And overtime, we kept it at the $1,000.
Why should overtime change? Just because that exclusion passes or doesn't pass?
Well, in case it's needed. So it was originally $2,000. We did drop it down to $1,000.
Right, I know that, but if the overtime does not, if the debt exclusion does not pass, you're at 750.
Yeah.
Why should that change? Why not keep it at the 750 even if it does pass?
I have no opposition to that, we just take a look at, the world was and how much we use and.
It's like only 8% has been expended anyways.
We'll go to the town administrators.
We have to do the bottom of 122, professional.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. And professional and technical line, we dropped that $2,500 to $8,000. Communications, up to $3,300. The Coleman billing is 65,000.
What is that? I guess I'm confused.
Yeah,
What
sure.
is that one again?
Hold on.
It says Comcast, AT&T. Do you guys pay the town Comcast bill for that?
Yes, and it's for all the town.
And it's under the BOS bill?
Yeah.
That's a weird one. Okay. Thanks.
Sure. Office supplies, 2,000, and travel, 300. Dues and subscriptions, 4,500. If we get the debt exclusion, professional and technical at 9,000. Communications, 3,800. Communications commingled, 66,000. 2,000 stays for office supplies. Travel, 500, and dues and subscriptions, again, at $4,500.
the dues and subscriptions come at the end of the year? I see them listed out here,
Yeah,
but it's like not been used, so it's like 6%.
yeah, it comes in at the June,
June.
yeah. But,
I have a question if you don't
Yeah.
mind. Professional and technical, 5,300. Under the rationale, it looks like it's the same dollar figures on both, with debt exclusion or no debt exclusion. Okay,
So with the 2 snow days, I didn't want to fall behind, so the zero-based budget documents were printed last week.
Mhm.
But then we had to reschedule a bunch of meetings, so when we rescheduled the meetings and discussed them, some of the numbers were changed.
okay,
So the Excel sheet with the budget
mhm,
are the true numbers,
right,
and the numbers in the zero-based budget might just be slightly off because of the timing on the printing.
okay,
That's all.
thank you.
You're welcome. With a couple of departments, it might be like that.
Perfect.
Go to 1.4. Town administrator. No debt exclusion. Let's say, give myself slight raise just to get it up to $135,000. But I want to point out that I get do get a little further down the line. I'm contractually get a $3,000 stipend, which I am not taking. So I will be taking less if we don't get a debt exclusion this year than last year. The ADA coordinator, no increase, 32,1545. Again, the administrative assistant to the town administrator, no increase in salary, 38,774.16. No overtime. Education stipends, we're keeping the contractual stipend for the for administrative for the administrative assistant. No stipend for the town administrator. Professional and technical, we have that at 1,300. This other professional technical was the ADA, so we struck that all together. Communications is at 7,600. ADA auxiliary aid, 1,500. That's the person that's our coordinator. And again, dues and subscription 6,500. See what the with the debt exclusion, and I'll take my my contractual raise. For an interim town administrator, the ADA coordinator stipend again. We've given that person a slight increase. We had discussed that with them. Administrative assistant, again, 2% raise. Overtime hours, none. Education stipend. It was contractually set, 1,750, and then there's fine. If we get the debt exclusion. Professional technical. So, 15. The ADA, again, we took that communication, 7,600. The aid to the ADA coordinator, slight bump in salary to 1,750, and dues and subscriptions, 6,500.
I have one question, 5161, the benefits, the TA stipends. How can we remove those stipends if they're contractual?
It's my contract.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
So I remove it. I'm opting not to take it.
I appreciate everyone not taking an increase. I guess, I know it's small money, but I'm hung up on some of these items that go up for for no apparent reason, just because the debt exclusion passes. Everything goes up by 200, 250, 500. Why?
Well, a lot of them.
What happens?
Well, I mean, we're cutting it very tight as it is, so we figure with the, and the thought process is, if we have a little more breathing room, we could put that in. I have to say that everybody who's going through it, they're a little nervous at the number we got, and we're kind of hoping that it, we're making our best guess, that will come in at the number. So wherever they could cut, I asked them wherever we could cut a little bit, where we could comfortably cut a little bit, let's do it. Now we have the debt exclusion, we had it back in. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wasn't aware that you put in there that you were opting not to take your full contractual, what's, in your contract. I just want to say that's very, very, very kind of you to the town, and I very much appreciate that. I didn't expect that, so just wanted to say thank you. And then also to the two budgets as well, like the two different budgets, either one is unsustainable. I mean, right, if we have did you say it's a 2% increase if the debt exclusion passes? Which is still
2% increase over, totally it's 2% increase over fiscal year 26 budget.
Which is still very, very modest and a very small increase of inflation.
Within 2.5, so.
Okay, thank you.
Ralph, can you remind me for the Board of Selectmen communication, the regular communications 5340, what's that one?
Hold on, I'm taking it. Oh, 5340. I think communications has to do with if I remember correctly, it has to do with stamps and things that we send out.
Stamps for everybody? Like
No,
just Board of Selectmen and.
Yeah, just the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
And similar to question about your contractual, the other positions that are salary positions that wouldn't be getting a change, is that not contractual?
They understand the financial situation and they're opting not to exercise their contract.
I do have one more question. So 5341 communications, are commingled. Is that the entire town staff?
That's our public relations JGR. So that's.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah.
That's under your town administrator, okay.
Yes.
So under the Board of Selectmen communications for 66,000, 5341.
That's Comcast and AT&T, yeah.
That's good, yeah.
The whole town.
Phone and internet for the.
Yeah, that's what I asked, yeah.
Except the library.
Excuse me?
Except the library.
Oh, the library, okay.
There's someone in the waiting room.
Oh, thank you.
How does that communications with Comcast work? I seem to remember that we had to have a certain budget and we got some kind of a discount, or we got money back for that. Is that still the case?
That's the PEG access. So the cable, Dave gets money based from Comcast, but this portion of the bill is just Comcast services to the town.
Okay.
I remember at one point, all the departments seemed to be paying their own bills, and I think it was Mallory who consolidated it. Some nice efficiency, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the question was, I was just like, why was it consolidated under your guys' department? That was the weird thing.
Instead of the town administrator, right?
Yeah, or the town administrator or something.
Well, he's very good at paying the bills.
I was just like, oh, very interesting way to do it. but whatever. Now we know.
So if we move on to town council. Town council, again, this is one of those situations, no debt exclusion, you know. Down to 40,000.
What department?
I'm sorry, 151.
Need to see by developers or what's the-
For the debt exclusion, we level funded it, kept it at $45,000.
Percentage, so it says July to September, is that just
That is, one of our town councils are behind on billing, so that's just that note that their bill is only through September.
so we thank them for their,
So at this rate, we might go over on town council this fiscal year.
We're close.
Yeah, but I know we cut it this fiscal year anyhow, so we knew it would be close. Yeah, okay.
And then Department 155?
Yep. Go to, network equipment, maintenance. Assessors computer fees. 14,000. Radar, 23,924. AOS website support, 4,217. Permitting software at $9,600. Network administration, 8,000, and COA prime time, 1,900. If you go to the debt exclusion, there's the two, everything, for the most part, everything stayed the same with the exception of network equipment repairs and maintenance. Then instead of 7,000, we put 8,000. You never know with computers. And then the other thing which we did was that website support fees. We're maintaining that at the and 8690. There's a functionality on there that we should have, and you know, if we gotta cut, you know, what we're doing in the note and the no debt excluding is to cut it and hope we could get by without it.
Ralph, I have a quick question. So on data processing 5308, it looks like we keep budgeting and voting for 1,900 every year, but it doesn't get used. So what exactly is that for? Because we didn't use it in 25, it hasn't been spent this year, but we keep budgeting for it. Does anybody know what that's for?
You know what, I apologize, I'll follow up with time software fees.
Yeah.
Then they have the opportunity where they get grant money, and they're very good at getting grant money, so they backfill it with grant money and so.
Okay, all right.
for the building permit software, do we have two fewer or a couple fewer users going forward? Because in either case, we're cutting the fee.
Yeah, we are like one less user in the process, yeah.
The only concern with cutting technology services is none of these are gonna encumber our ability to collect revenue in any way, correct?
Correct. That's why we're paying Vadar.
Yeah. That's literally.
And the assessor. so.
Yeah, exactly, that's cool, that's the thing I care about.
Department 192.
Two energy, that 145,000. Library, they've taken care of their own. Library.
Modular, go on. Oh.
Non-energy town office building, 7,000. Building repair maintenance, 20,000. Town hall service agreements, we have the 12. We took out the dog shelter maintenance of the dog shelter because that's carried under the ACO budget. Other property related services, 7,500. Those are the again, as you can see, that's the fiber lines. Custodial housekeeping, 11,600. Housekeeping, $3,000. And shared equipment, copy of 10,500. As you can see, with the debt, we're pretty close. The other difference is not energy town office building. We're at 8,000. We kept maintenance on the building to 20. Service agreements up stayed at 12. Dog shelter.
Do we have a dog shelter?
I think that's for her trailer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a trailer. But, we should take that one. Yeah.
You're changing your recommendation on that?
Yes, I am.
I think, remember last year, she wanted funds to be able to power wash it. So I think that's what that's for, is just whatever maintenance that the trailer may need.
I didn't think we were keeping any of the animals in town.
It's short term.
Okay.
Short term shelter.
Is the change in the custodial, is that just removing the library?
Yes.
Like a 9% drop in estimated energy costs.
Yeah, that's when I went over my staff meetings, they were comfortable with that number. They're saying how it's going, and they feel that that's a comfortable number to keep energy in.
Okay.
Slightly up to level funded grounds keeping supplies to 3,200, and then again level funded shared equipment 11,000.
And 195.
195. So we didn't quote the town report $1,000. We didn't change it. These are town reports we put up. So we're trying to reduce the amount of town reports we print up and sort of put them online, have them electronically. So we're moving towards that, but until we're done, we can print them up.
How many printed town reports do we have left over from last year?
Yeah, I don't know. I have to, not a lot, not a lot, because because we cut the budget late, yeah.
Yeah, we reduce the printed.
Right, yeah.
Okay. And then 919.
919 is, OPEB. And, that we've been looking at it, 25,000 on both sides of the equation, make sure we fund that.
Tuition is 920.
Tuition is, on both sides, pretty sure both sides of the equation that is at 3,000, someone, we had put in for 2 people taking advantage of it, and we only have one person leaving. So we have it on both sides, is 3,000. Liability insurance. 945. So, workman, building insurance and liability insurance. Total for 280, 39, and again, that's for both, on both sides.
Frank ran over already.
Just one of the lines
Yeah, it's,
as a whole.
Yeah, for workers' comp. Something happened.
so we paid, we get that bill at the beginning of the year, so it's not,
You're paying in installments.
No, no, we paid right, that's the day we paid, right, we get that in July. And we
You paid all, you didn't pay the entire annual premium all at once.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, if the bill for the year that you paid was 63 grand, why are we not upping to, it's not gonna go down?
Well, the total last year was 264,000.
Yeah, I'm speaking specifically on workers' comp, right? So I'm looking at 5173. You paid 63 grand for the annual bill, but you didn't up the budget.
Yeah, so I can look into that more. It could just be the way that it came over. If one big.
If it was like
bill
half of
split
last year
accurately.
or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would look at that because that ain't gonna go down. I mean, the mod rate could potentially get better over time, but
Not that much.
no, yeah, you're not gonna get a 50% increase next year. So we gotta up that, we need to take that into account. And then same thing for the liability insurance, like a lot of these policies are going out of control. So let's just make sure that, take a look at what the annualized was when you guys paid it up front, and that should be the baseline that we use for
Okay,
budget.
we'll adjust them.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment on the insurance. I know that we are having a tight budget, and if we don't get the debt exclusion, we're going to remain with a tight budget. And health insurance, like you said, isn't going to go down. That would just mean that we would have to have either higher deductibles or larger co-payments. But that's something.
Yeah, this isn't the health insurance yet though, Doug. This is workers' comp and GLI, general liability. So the health will be later on. But agreed, that was in, I don't know if you saw Ralph's presentation, that was in one of his slides where he talked about if the debt exclusion doesn't pass, one of his action items was looking at either changing the contribution percentages or the deductible plans and things of that nature. So that is definitely something he's looking at.
Now on the workers' comp, is there a similar levers that can be pushed, increasing or decreasing, or are they set in stone? You get one premium, you get one type of plan.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's very little you can do about workers' comp from from like a pricing lever perspective, the coverage is the coverage levels are set by the state. And you're basically given every job title is given a workers' comp code, which has a rate set attached to that workers' comp code that's modified based upon, calculated based upon how much salary is done through that workers' comp code, right? So like somebody sitting at a desk is an 8810. So like that's a white collar person and you pay like nothing for workers' comp because they're not gonna get injured, right? But somebody driving one of the plows that was helping us out last week would obviously have a higher workers' comp risk because they're out plowing and they're operating heavy machinery. The only way you can really change what the rates are, like, you know, there's some carrier competition is going into group pools. I don't know what, if the town's in a group pool like they are with the health insurance, my guess is probably. So unfortunately, you're kind of up the creek in most of these situations. My only concern when bringing it up was just that we adjust accordingly and prepare for what next year's premium is going to be. Workers' comp you're kind of stuck with, but on the health insurance, I agree with you, Doug. Like we could pull those levers as needed.
Now, on the workers' comp, is it possible to look at self-insuring a percentage of it? Because if you don't use it, it rolls over to the next year. Can you make a deal with your workers' comp company to do that? Is that a creative thing we could explore?
Yeah. Workers' comp, you can't self-insure in that way. You have to have
10% of it, 20% of it, something like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you'd have to be, you know, that's like a group pool, which is something that can be looked at, but with a municipality, there's weirdness there. I don't know if we would be big enough to look into those pools. Most of it is still, even, you know, I have clients that have 8,000 employees that still go to a Travelers or an Allstate and get workers' comp insurance. Like it doesn't, you know, they're not self-insuring it. It's still through a carrier. So it's tough.
It's always a hard one.
Yeah, that's tough. But to Peter's point, depending on what happens with the debt exclusion, the cost of workers' comp is directly related to how much salary is being put through. So, you know, unfortunately, if we are cutting salaries, it'll go down. It's not going to go down a lot, but it'll go down a little bit because the amount you pay in workers' comp is directly related to how much salaries are being paid out by the town, right? But that's certainly.
Mr.
Chairman,
Yes.
Nancy Goulart. Speak.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I think she's having
Something you should be aware of. I don't know why we're getting an echo here.
You're on twice, Nancy. I'm gonna take.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna.
Maybe say mute one of her.
Yeah, I'm just gonna remove one of them. And hopefully I remove the right one. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Don't report. Don't report.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. There you go.
Something you need to be aware of. Periodically, the town gets audited for workers' comp. I remember one time when I was the selectman, I think it was probably between 2015 and 2020. We had not been audited by our workers' comp or whoever does it. And they came in and did an audit. And based on activity, they, in effect, raised the cost during the fiscal year. So I think since then they have probably, I hope, conducted workers' comp audits more often than like 3, 4, or 5 years. But you just need to keep in mind, a major driver of your premium is your activity. If you go without injuries for a period of time, that's a plus. If you have injuries, your rates are going to go up. So you need to know that.
Mr. Chairman, through you, this is Paul Reynolds. I just wanted to let the board know that there was a workers' comp audit, either late last fiscal year or early this fiscal year. It's all starting to blend together a little bit, to be honest. But I'd say somewhere in the last 6 months or so, there was a workers' comp audit.
Very good.
Thanks, Paul. Any issues, Paul?
None that I'm aware of. It was a new audit company, and it was their first time doing it. It was a fully correspondence audit. There wasn't a field person like there usually is with the back when Nielsen used to do it. They'd send somebody down. As far as I know, there were no issues. We were able to match everything to the code. I worked with Karen Brady a little bit to get the codes and make sure that we were classifying people correctly. There was a couple people that were miscategorized according to their records, but we got everything straightened out, and there were no major glaring issues.
Serena said no issues.
She didn't get a paper cut.
Exactly, yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions on insurance?
No. We can move on to fire.
Yeah.
If you're ready. Department 220.
Talk about workers' comp.
Chief, and we are starting with the no debt.
What's that?
We're starting with no debt.
Okay.
I know you like doing this so much, you want to do it twice. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you're ready, Chief.
Not much to say. Everything
Yeah, it's there.
basically level funded. The only thing that's not are the contractual obligations and the payroll lines.
The only description is a little bit of extra cash for, the only difference is a little bit of extra cash for equipment repairs between the two, it looks like.
Between no debt and
Between debt and no debt, yeah.
Correct. So that, yeah, the debt and no debt, the whole 2.5% increase that was suggested to me towards repairs because I'm through my repair budget right now. And I still have 4 months to operate. So I have grave concern over both of these budgets because I'm putting off like vehicle repairs right now to next fiscal year. And that's concerning for personnel safety, for public safety, for all of it. I've been through my 2 repair lines for my apparatus in December. So to say that I have concerns is an understatement.
Yes.
I just hope that our taxpayers understand the importance of a debt exclusion for public safety, not just personnel wise, but the personnel that we are going to keep need safe apparatus to operate in.
We specifically, when we were writing our arguments for mentioned coming cuts for public safety, you know,
sure.
If it didn't pass, in an attempt to kind of get the urgency across, is what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, we're aware.
A couple questions for you.
Sure.
When you push off vehicle maintenance for at this point, around 4 months, who determines whether a vehicle can go out or can't go out? Is that just on you? Is it the highway?
It's on me.
Not just on you.
Yeah. So obviously, anything emergent is getting repaired. If I can put it off and I feel like it can be put off, then we're putting off those repairs. There's like, for instance, A1 needs some exhaust repair right now now it's A2, needs some exhaust repair that can wait till next fiscal. So those types of things I'm trying to put off. But there's things that still need to be done this fiscal. Like I have ground ladder testing coming up actually this Sunday. I have state inspections that all need to be done on all the apparatus. All that stuff is still being drawn from those accounts.
What do you have that's emergent?
I'm sorry?
What do you have right now that you consider emergent, especially for your staff safety?
There's nothing.
So you're comfortable with that right now?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
When's your new vehicle come in?
I'm sorry.
Does your new vehicle come in?
It's in,
Oh, it's in?
yes.
So the repair work that was going towards that is not necessary anymore?
The repair,
That you were paying money to have your old vehicle repaired?
so my old, I don't know if everybody knows, but my old cruiser,
Went down to,
no, was totaled.
oh, right.
During a windstorm, I took a tree across the windshield. And it totaled the vehicle.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So my cruiser, the 2019, is the insurance company totaled it and it's gone. So we're still running a 2006 with 180,000 miles on it.
So the one that we were gonna get rid of is now on.
Correct. Yep.
Great.
That was out in a windstorm.
You gotta do your job.
What year was,
Doing my job.
what year was the other vehicle that we just lost?
2019.
So now we have a 20-year-old vehicle as number 2.
Yep. So
Did we get insurance money for that?
$21,000 was the payout, roughly, just over 21,000, right? Yeah. Not enough to replace it.
But it can go towards the new one.
Correct.
What was the cost of a new one? Do you remember what we just approved? Off the top of your head?
100,000. But I'm trying to get a vehicle that we could put the equipment from the previous cruiser into. But I'm not having much luck with that process.
Yeah. Right, so you're still looking at an 8, call it an 80K delta.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Sure.
Fire equipment repairs and maintenance. Is that what we're talking about when you talk about your
Correct. The 5240 line.
5240?
Correct.
So for no debt exclusion, it's $16,169.50, and then with the debt exclusion, it's $18,887.50. Is that $18,000 figure cover everything? Like you wouldn't be putting off maintenance, or is that still cutting it?
That's still the reflection of the $30,000 hit I took. So it's still less than what we were operating with previously.
Okay, so for you to be operating at the most comfortable number for you to maintain your equipment, it'd be 18,000 plus 30,000. Was that?
Well,
30.
It would be 30,000.
The 30,000 came from, I took from several lines throughout the budget when I did it. I don't remember exactly what I don't know if it's on here, but
25 was 28,259.
Right, so that's what we were operating at. So it's still $10,000 short of what we had for a line before.
Okay.
And that doesn't include the 231 account.
Mm-hmm. What's the 231 account?
The ambulance.
The ambulance, okay. Thank you.
No problem.
You guys have any more questions? No. Move on to what is the ambulance is next? 231.
231 ambulance.
Same thing here.
Just all the same stuff, yeah.
I guess putting the two together, something, I don't know if you're here, we were chatting a little bit about overtime hours. One of the things that, we're hopeful if the debt exclusion passes, obviously we can help you out equipment wise, but the town administrators made it a point for looking to get you some additional personnel help as well. Because we're burning through a lot of overtime pay, not just with you, but also the police department. Do you feel that the way that the department is set up currently from compensation packages and things of nature makes an attractive location for people to go to. So if we said, hey, you have a budget to hire an additional officer next year,
Just tell the truth, I saw this.
Yes, so we have a very comparable or competitive rate.
Okay.
The problem with my department is because we don't run a 4-group system, we run a 3-group system. When you play out all the hours, my personnel work more hours than an average fire department. So in a year, they work more hours than if you go to Taunton Fire.
Right.
Look at what their schedule works, how their schedule works, they're working more hours in a year. So we're losing personnel to go to other departments because of that.
So it's a work-life balance thing.
Less
Yeah,
hours.
work-life.
Correct. So you're working less hours in a year for the same amount of money.
And so you're doing a 3-group instead of a 4 because you don't have enough people, is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
How many personnel does it take to get you to a 4-group?
Yeah, how many would you need?
2 more would get us to a 4-group system.
Just play this out the whole day, to go to a 4-group system, I'm assuming that probably wouldn't change anything from an overtime standpoint.
So as you know, right? So if I add more personnel, it's going to mean more time off, which means more backfilling. So I don't think that it will reduce overtime. It might a little bit. The thing that it will reduce overtime in is right now we're paying 2 full-time personnel to staff a Saturday shift on overtime.
So every Saturday is 2 people on guaranteed overtime
Correct.
for a 12 or an 8?
For 24.
For a 24. So it's 48 hours a week of overtime every single week for 52 weeks a year.
Correct.
Things we go back to the maintenance, sorry, what's the difference between either side, fire equipment, fire rescue equipment versus ambulance equipment? How do we put it in which box?
I go at the discretion of.
Which lines, Peter?
5850
Yep.
versus a 5240.
So 5850 is what we use to purchase turnout gear, SCBA supplies, and all that stuff. The
Okay.
5240 is the repairs and maintenance on apparatus.
Okay.
Correct. So as you'll see, if you're looking at the current, the 5850, we probably have money that's not expended all the way. It's at 5850, or it might be the other.
Yeah, through 6 months, there was only $130 down to that.
Correct. So I have $21,000 worth of gear on order.
Okay.
So I order between 5 and 6 sets of gears a year. So that way all my gear is not expiring in the same year, because they have a 10-year lifespan. As soon as the gear hits 10 years, it's going to be taken out of service. So I try to rotate it so all the gear is not expiring at one time. So we're not buying 40 sets of gear, 50 sets of gear in 1 year.
So basically you're staggering it out. So you
Correct.
don't take a huge hit,
Correct.
which is actually the smartest thing to do.
I think when we first started this about 3-4 years ago, we were having a lot of issues getting equipment, especially PPE and some of these specialty things. Has that gotten better?
It's gotten much better, yeah. So turnout gear with the coat and pants that we order is taking roughly between 3 and 4 months turnaround time, because they're building it to order. Because it has a lifespan, they're not building anything to put it on the shelf anymore like it used to be. So now basically when I order a set of gear for a member, it's custom tailored to them. It's made for them, and then it comes with the date that we receive it is the date that the expiration starts for the 10 years.
Odd question, but if you had it tailor-made to a person, what happens when that person goes, if they go?
So it still goes back into our inventory, and we use it for somebody new.
Okay.
It's tailored for somebody, but it's not truly tailored for somebody.
Okay, all right.
So in other words, people get fit for a standard, if you're 38 waist, you get a 38.
Okay.
We can, mostly our female employees, we have to make it more custom because they're
Smaller.
shorter and stuff like that.
Okay.
those are really custom, but
Okay,
the other stuff we take and we use for other personnel.
all right. Thank you.
No problem.
Besides the exhaust, any other ambulance type maintenance being put off?
Not ambulance maintenance, no. No.
How are we doing with the ambulance fees offsetting these costs? I mean, are they out on a lot of calls or?
Ambulance calls, like our run numbers are increased exponentially, probably from last year to this year. I think we went up 3 or 4%.
Okay.
On runs. We're bringing in $600,000 to $700,000 a year roughly. And we put, I think last year, 475
Yes.
from the ambulance account into the general revenues.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah. Collections, we're doing all right with. It's, you know, that's a battle always, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
Does the majority of that get paid by the health insurance of the person that is being attended to?
Yeah, well, majority of it is insurance companies, Medicare, Medicaid, and then private pay.
Any other questions for Chief? No?
No, I'm good.
Chief is still planning on bringing a reserve fund request? Reserve fund transfer?
No,
Not at all.
not at this time, no.
And then he also has Department 299, emergency management. 299.
I didn't do anything to this, I just left it the way it is. On both. The biggest thing that the emergency preparedness budget pays for is the code red system that we have, which is an emergency notification system that we can use in emergencies. So that's really what the budget really pays for, and then other stuff, we replace traffic cones, stuff like that, that we use a lot of during storms. Lighting, things along those lines. All right.
Thank
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Chief.
We can move on to Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Department 294.
Coming out, that's blazing.
I was gonna say, yeah, this is a great way to start.
Street.
That one first.
Any questions on Gore Street?
No. Okay. And then Department 422.
Without.
I had a tough week. Busy week.
A little bit. Last week, yes.
Have you gotten any applicants on the job?
Yes, we have several. Yes.
Do you make a difference between the two, mainly both position?
It shows 7 employees underneath. With no debt exclusion.
Do you feel, I don't think you were here, Rock was budgeting, would you update an extra 200K for snow and ice?
It's a 400.
Well, it's just, yeah, it's at 400K, yeah.
How do you feel about that figure for this year for snow and ice, at 400? I don't like that smile.
Are you making a deal to shut it off now?
I don't like that smile.
It's hard to say, yes. We're gonna be flirting with that, absolutely, yes.
So a question that I have is for 5240, the equipment repairs and maintenance. Obviously, you discussed the fact that most of your vehicles are older than many people. You know, I mean, are you gonna be comfortable with this number, given, you know, the age of your equipment and?
That shows an increase. That's where me and Ralph, wrestled on, he won.
I think she means the no debt side at 37.
Yeah, the no debt side at 37.
Ralph still got that at 42.
No, I put it
Oh, did you? I see 37.
To the right.
the town
Ralph's.
recommendation.
Yeah.
Over to the right of.
Oh, here, the 42.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, that really has to go up, yes. With and without the debt exclusion, is no question about that.
Okay.
Are you putting off any maintenance at this point?
Do we put, you mean,
Trying to put off any maintenance till next year?
with,
The things that you can put off.
me and Ralph have to have a conversation, yeah, we're looking at a transmission in one, a pony motor in one, the radiator has to come, he doesn't know what radiator yet either.
I mean, when you're talking about 30-year-old equipment, you can only put a Band-Aid on it for so long.
With the exclusion, it looks like Ralph on that arm wrestle too?
Yes.
Okay.
Didn't put up much of a fight, but I give it.
So the vehicle supplies, that's the routine maintenance. And then the other one that we were just talking about for the vehicle repairs, that's the one that hurts us the most.
Between the two budgets, 5106 salary first time, salary full-time, excuse me. Are you looking at not replacing the one if no debt exclusions comes?
Correct.
But you're looking to hire somebody now?
There's two positions
Oh,
empty right now. So we're replacing one, so we'll have a complement of 7. And if we do get the debt exclusion,
you'll go for the young.
depending on the arm wrestling match, yes.
Equipment or men?
We're
And just to note on these salaries, it's also, some of it is within Department 432, the stormwater. So just note that.
Okay,
There's 8 weeks of salary in the other budget.
all right.
And that usually does not get exercised until March, April, May, June.
Okay.
What piece of equipment would you say is in the most need of right at this moment? That's going to cost us the most money if we keep it.
The larger trucks, Yes,
The what truck?
the larger trucks, the six-wheel dumps, there's three of them right now that we're wrestling with. They're just gonna nickel and dime us greatly.
What year are those?
One's a 92, the other one's 95. Second one's a 95 also, so that's the three that are in the 90s. The newest one is at a dealership now, trying to get an electronic issue resolved, but that shouldn't be nickel and dime us. That hopefully is a warranty issue.
Have you submitted a request to the capital outlay committee with your 5-year plan?
A 5-year plan, no.
Both for this fiscal year?
Yes, 2 vehicles.
Okay, thank you. That's awesome.
I believe a 5-year plan, we should do it with the capital outlay.
Right, okay,
So we gotta, they're the ones that hold the press, we gotta figure that out.
okay.
Any questions for Tom?
No, thanks. No. Then snow budget 423. Which we need to not appropriate less than this current fiscal year.
50,000 it is. The last year we were like, oh, that was nice.
Refresh my memory on that. Don't we have to put a certain amount in regardless for the
50,
snow and ice budget?
yeah, 50,000.
50? Okay. That wasn't enough.
No, not this, not yesterday. Berkeley, you do Berkeley Bridge too, Tom?
Yes, 429.
Questions on 429?
No, no.
Stormwater 432. And Nancy is also here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
are you on stormwater now?
yes.
Tom, do you have anything before I talk about the email I got from Weston and Sampson?
No,
Okay. In the budget that you have before you, we put in a $15,000 placeholder, which is what is in the current budget, in order to do testing we are required to do now. I sent an email to Jerry Schwartz, who is the engineer at Weston and Sampson, who's working on the project that is being funded by ARPA to do the kind of things we need updated in our stormwater program. She said that, again, everything's contingent on funding. She's saying that for the FY27, the 15,000 that is proposed should be in there in order to comply with testing and things we have to do. Now, I said to her, what else do we have to do besides the 15,000 for testing, which we did in 25? We've got to do, we did in 25, we're doing in 26, and we got to do in 27. So she came up with a list. When I totaled it, it was $50,000. Not going to happen. However, she prioritized them. And the first item she lists that we need to consider is additional mapping of drainage infrastructure in urbanized areas. It's an estimated cost of $20,000. The other things that are on here, this list, I don't think it's crunch time, and I have to listen to her recommendations. So we're looking for an additional $20,000 in that line where the 15 is, and it would be, or create a new line. It's for mapping of drainage infrastructure in urbanized areas. Now, some of that work has already been done, and they did update maps when they were here last year, and that was paid for through the ARPA grant. So the testing that was done previously was paid for through the ARPA grant. So the 15,000 that's in there this year is going to be something we have to provide. We don't have anybody qualified to do this, so we'll probably be looking for an engineering firm like Weston and Sampson. And then again, just to repeat, her recommendation is if there is additional funding, if it becomes available, we need to look at additional mapping.
Is that 5305 on the budget, Nancy?
Yes.
Yeah. Compliance.
Mhm.
We're still waiting for the new MS4 regulations to be approved. The town is currently in year 9 of the 10-year plan, the notice of intent that I submitted 9 years ago. They've been talking about revisions to MS4, but that's gone on for years too, because even when we filed the notice of intent, we'd been waiting more than 5 years to find out what we were supposed to do. So everything that I'm talking about and what we are planning on is under the current MS4. I don't think we'll have any surprises that would have money attached to them. Again, we've still got year 9 and 10 to complete in our notice of intent. So I think we've got a little bit of breathing room there. After that, it's like everything else that comes down from the EPA, we wait and see.
Move on to transfer station.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have one question on the salary line. We've got a 7.35 increase of 4.58. That's under street cleaning, stormwater stuff. Yeah. I think,
Sorry, what's the question?
I think there was some discrepancy in the number of employees that Tom was counting. That's more what we.
Oh, in the stormwater?
Yeah.
yes, 5105 and 5106. What are our other salary lines are only increased by 2% or?
Yeah, so I'm not sure why. I think they had additional employees when they voted for their department request. And then on the town administrator line, we agreed on the 7 employees. So then we adjusted it in the town admin recommendations. But I can't change it on the department request because they're a committee and that gets voted.
Okay.
And the split might have been a little different in FY26.
So we added in employees or?
No, so they currently have 2 open positions. So a no debt, they're gonna hire 1 employee.
Right.
And then with the debt, they'll fill the 2 positions. So it might be the way that it's split in FY26. And they also had employees leave. So the new people are coming in lower.
Okay.
Transportation looks identical on both budgets. Yeah.
What budget has to do with that outside. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying that's incorrect, I'm just saying, we can just look at one, and not have to go back and forth about that. Any change to hours of operation this year? The transfer station?
No. Everything else is based on tonnage and it's pretty consistent from year to year.
Cool.
Serena, do you know what the total dollars amount is collected on the stickers? Do you have any idea what that is?
I can look while he's going over the next one.
That's what you want to tell.
Up to the one with the debt exclusion, with the debt exclusion.
I think you can probably move on to cemetery, 491.
Okay. Change there.
Yeah, we just renegotiated that contract, right?
Yeah.
Great. How long was that for?
3.
I think that's it for you, Tom.
For you?
No, we're gonna do the debt exclusions.
We've been going back and forth.
Okay, okay, same time.
So we're gonna just looking up the answer to the question.
Yeah, I don't have it individually. In FY 25, it was 14,000, we estimated 14,000. In FY 25, we collected 14,155,
Right, that was a split year.
with just the automobile stickers.
Right, that was a split year with the previous year. I think this is the first full year. So the previous year, we increased it in the middle of the fiscal. We switched it from a calendar year to a fiscal year.
I think it's more.
It just makes sense for me, the way I think that to have the stickers paid for that salary. Fiscal base. So it's right around 650 stickers times 30. It'd come up pretty close to that. No other questions?
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
32 degrees.
The collector, I believe Paul is on.
Good evening, everybody.
Paul.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Would you like to begin with the debt exclusion or no debt exclusion?
Okay.
So with debt?
No debt.
No debt, I'm sorry, thank you. So for no debt to begin at 145 town treasurer, I did put in a level fund for my own salary. That includes no raise. I also am testing for my certified mass municipal treasurer certification this year. And the town did adopt the bylaw to pay an additional $1,000 stipend upon certification, which I have foregone. The assistant treasurer salary, Serena, could you please let me know if this includes the 12-year bump? I know that we had to do a change because I think there was a longevity consideration based on the assistant treasurer collector hitting 12 years this year. So I know that we might have done a slight revision on that. Serena, do you know if the number in the packet reflects that or not?
I believe on the town admin record, yeah, I believe it does, yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So that just represents the contractual obligations in the new step. The senior clerk, that represents that position being split. So that normally historically has been 25 hours in our office, and that's going to go down to right about half that. Overtime and additional hours we have set to $250, and then education stipends, which are for set to $250, which is for the bilingual and the CPR certifications that are contractual union obligations for the clerical folks. Was there any questions on the personnel lines, or would we like to move down into expenses?
5116 is basically personnel cut.
Yes, exactly. So we had a 25-hour employee that that would in this budget be moving down and becoming a roughly, I believe this is budgeted at what, 12 hour, I think we did, Serena, 11 and a half, 12 hours, something like that.
Okay.
So to move down into the equipment maintenance, 5240, we do have a couple of printers, a variety of PCs. It just felt like responsible to budget something. The $200 buys you about an hour and a half of Netrospect. So I figure that we can probably bank on using that at some point during the year. The professional and technical, I'm going to dive into my zero-based budgeting breakdown for that. So the primary drivers for that is our payroll provider Customized Data Services is closing up shop. They're going to be going out of business at the end of this calendar year. We have not made an official decision, but I believe we're most likely going to be moving towards Harper's payroll. I did receive 3 quotes, and I sent them out to Ralph and Serena, but given the busyness of this season, we'll probably be setting a time sometime in the next, I don't know, week or so. I would imagine a week or 2 maybe to sit down and finalize that. We received quotes from ADP, Paychex, and Harper's. Harper's seems to by far have the most functionality. They're able to integrate with our current provider, our current reporting. It's not going to require manual reduplication of employee information, employee numbers, personnel files, pay history. People aren't going to have to get multiple W-2s to reflect from the records of one payroll company and the other, and then kind of have to wade through the weeds to do their taxes. There'll just be one W-2. And that represents about approximately 12 to 15,000 was the range that we had planned on for our payroll provider, which is comparable to where we've been now. It's a little pricier, but the company that we've been using is fairly antiquated. So in professional and technical, 15,000 of that is our payroll. 7,450 of that is our OPEB valuation. So this is paid every other year. So 7,450 is the OPEB valuation through our actuary. There might be, I've sent out an email. I'm not positive yet on if the way that the period that they're going to be examining runs. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to encumber some funds this year to offset the expense, or if I'll be able to pay half next year and then half in FY28. That's still not entirely clear, but the cost of that from the quote that I was given is $7,450. Professional and technical also contains the annual fee of $100 for the credit card. I put in a buffer of $100, which hopefully is not needed, but that's for interest, and God forbid the event the credit card gets paid late. We have had situations where a charge gets authorized to the card. So the way that the credit card works currently is the department head or authorized spender for a department calls our office, requests permission to use the card. If they're trying to place an order over the phone, they'll be given the card number over the phone to enter it. And then at that point, they'll be emailed a copy of the credit card authorization form, which is kind of the credit card equivalent of the schedule of bills payable. And then they'll complete that and provide that and the invoice to my office. And then when the credit card statement comes, I compile them for all departments and then submit one master bill schedule. And we have had issues in the past where snail mail, you get a statement late, or a department. We had one happen a couple of years ago where a board used it, and then there was only one authorized signer who was unavailable for a couple of weeks. I forget if it was due to illness or what it was. But we built in $100 just in for some kind of contingency in the event that we get whacked with a month of interest. There's $155.40 in there, which is for the transfer station Unipay. When we set up Unipay to accept credit cards at the transfer station, that's paid out of my budget. It's $38.85 billed quarterly. I also included an Adobe renewal. I use Adobe for document editing, conversion, converting PDFs into spreadsheets, PDFs into Word documents, and vice versa. And I believe and then the FSA admin fee. I apologize. My justification sheet's a little all over the place. And then the FSA admin fee is the FSA cafeteria plan administrative fee of $85 a month, which it's an employee benefit that allows folks to have the FSA. Were there any questions on the 5,300?
$5,300. Good.
Yep.
Yes. Good on that one.
Okie doke. So to move on down to certification of legal fees, this one is our recordings. This is registry recordings. This one is going to be going up quite a bit towards the end of the year. I'll probably be encumbering most of all of this right towards the end of the year, once the snow melts. So the tax title law that is now the law of the land, it used to be that for delinquent tax titles, you could post it in the newspaper, and that would be the notice. That would satisfy the notice requirement. Now I literally have to hire a constable to drive around and post a physical notice on every single property that's going to be taken into tax title. And for FY25, I have 120 delinquent properties. So if you figure that you're going to hire a constable at 45, 50, plus that line item is the $106 recording fee for the registry of deeds. So I'm going to end up in the course of, I've been lagging on these, one, because the ability to comply with it has been kind of nebulous and murky, and DLS and DOR finally got some really good guidance on there. And the land court attorneys have finally started to really get a strong grasp on how to actually comply with this law, which is always good. And, so we will end up being encumbering that, but that is for our recordings. And postage meter, this one we adjusted down quite a bit. So this is my actual postage. So the way that postage works is that in the collector budget, you'll see the lease payment for the actual Pitney Bowes mail machine. So this is, we advance funds off of a line of credit into the postage machine, which all departments then use. And then monthly, I will run a report, which we provide to Serena, which shows each individual department's access code that they type in, their password, in order to run mail through the machine. And so essentially, I am advancing money into the machine from this budget and then billing it out to other departments. But additionally, this also encapsulates any money that my department itself uses, which is primarily if we have to mail out documents, corrected tax bills, revised things, late notices, courtesy mailers, and correspondence to the retirement board, new employee enrollment packages, pension enrollments, and so forth. Yeah, but before I keep moving on, was there any questions on any either of those two?
No.
Alrighty. 5420 is office supplies, and these are just your basic bread and butter office supplies, register tape, things for the adding machine, cleaning supplies, pens, post-it notes. As there's the treasurer's office on that side, we take in obviously the receipts and departmental turnovers for every department. So we use, the nice heavy duty binder clips to keep them organized because, as you probably know, we're undergoing our audit this week. And it's just a lot easier to keep them organized. It's never fun. I've used paper clips in the past a couple of times, and it's never fun when you're digging out something that you did 11 months ago that you have to then reconstruct because the paper clip burst off and it exploded all over the floor. Travel. So for travel, this includes both my historically the treasurer's office has received a stipend of $150 quarterly to go to the post office and then go to the bank and do all the kind of regular the regular daily travel that's just kind of part and parcel of the position. It's also used to pay the hotel fee and the parking when I go to the annual school at UMass Amherst. I will be staying an additional night in Amherst this year because I'm eligible to test. And I had thought I'd be eligible to test last summer, but the education committee, I was just a couple points shy of the experience points. They have a rubric for how long you have to have been in office, what educational criterions you have to hit, and so forth. And so on travel, I will be able to test for the certified Mass Municipal Treasurer, which is on Friday. Normally, the school itself runs Tuesday through Thursday. So normally I'm coming home Thursday afternoon, but I do have to pay for one more additional night in the hotel this year. And then dues and subscriptions, that pays for our the annual school itself and our memberships in the Mass Collector Treasurer Association and the Bristol County Treasurers Association. Were there any questions on those lines, or would you like me to jump into 146?
Good.
Okay. So the personnel is more or less a repeat of above, where there's the the $250 in stipends for the clerical union folks. My salary is flat, and the other employees just represent their contractual obligations under the union contract, and the office assistant position decreasing roughly 50% in hours, or senior clerk as it's listed there. And then to move down to rentals and leases, the reason that this one has jumped up is because our postage machine was not IMI compliant. So as of January 21st, 2026, needed to be retired from service. So because of that, our old one was about $3,200. I was able to we got a new machine through Pitney Bowes. And when we re-upped with Pitney Bowes, we were able to get by with this $4,000 budget that we have in place now, because the first couple of quarter payments were at that lower rate. And so now 4240 just represents the new lease amount. Professional and technical, that exists in case I need to get a legal opinion or pay for a constable as I go through. I'd anticipate I'm going to need constable money as I go through to do tax takings and serve those papers. The new requirement is going to literally require us to go around and post a physical mailing on every parcel. And I'm going to need a legal opinion for some of them, because good question would be, how do you post a notice on a landlocked property that the abutters do not give you permission to cross the parcel? I frankly don't know. The Mass Collector Treasurer Association doesn't have a great answer, nor does anyone else I've asked. So I'm going to I want to make sure that I've got legal opinions for whatever I ultimately have to do in order to perfect those liens and get the tax takings recorded. Tax bills, that just represents cost of postage going up. I got quotes for our from our folks who do our excise and our real estate mailings. We did approximately 14,200 excise bills last year. And then obviously between the actuals and the preliminary bills, that 19.5 just represents what the labor cost really didn't change at all. It's mostly postage driven. Office supplies, I cut it down as much as I could to hit my number. And, between to have a department, $1,500 for office supplies, I felt like it's just pretty conservative, no matter how you slice it. Travel, again, that just represents the other half of that travel budget, which includes the $600 annual stipend for me, plus my travel, school, parking, and hotel expenses. And then dues and subscriptions. The Bristol County Collector Treasurers Association has been defunct for a number of years. Ironically, last Tuesday during the snowstorm, it was scheduled to have its first inaugural meeting in many years. But I've been speaking with the treasurer collector in Swansea and Somerset, who are working on revitalizing that organization. And that amount represents what the dues for that will be once the organization gets back on its feet. Were there any questions on the collector expenses, or would you like me to jump into the debt exclusion budget?
Good.
All righty. So to go back to town treasurer, the budget there is, I did request a raise if we are able to secure debt exclusion. So that brings my salary up to 41,945.54. I don't see the percentage increase on the spreadsheet I'm looking at. I believe it's either 2 or 2.5%. I don't know if Serena could confirm, but it's either 2 or 2.5, I believe.
The town administrator's recommendation is a 2%.
Got it. Okay. Then the union folks, there's the assistants stays the same. The senior clerk would this would represent basically preserving that position as it currently is, bring it up to the new pay rate without bringing it down in hours. Overtime stays the same, and the educational stipends also stay the same. And then to move down into equipment, that actually all stays more or less the same. The primary differences were an additional $1,000 in certification of legal fees. That's just less of a headache for me of which ones I have to do now and which ones I can let ride for another year is really what that comes down to. Without securing a lien and tax title, just a regular default property tax delinquency stays perfected for 3.5 fiscal years or 5 calendar years. So you have plenty of time. It used to be in the olden days, you wanted to secure your tax title liens immediately as soon as possible. The reason for that is that the interest rate on a delinquent real estate tax is 14%. The interest rate on a delinquent tax title is 16%. So you'd want to get it secured as fast as you could in order to get that extra interest. However, the legislature in their infinite wisdom reduced tax title interest rate to 8%. So now it actually makes better business sense if you really want to get more from your penalties, to leave them unsecured by tax title until you start getting closer to that 3.5 fiscal year cutoff window. And so at the same time, that does take some kind of brain capital to manage them and make sure that you're staggering the waves in which you secure them effectively. So putting the extra 1,000 in there would let me do more at once. I believe that's actually the primary differences as I look through them. Yeah, those are the only differences on the departmental expense. Is $1,000 for registry costs. And then to move on to collector. Sorry, I printed these two-sided. Collector. Alrighty. So once again, that puts in the raise request for me. That just mirrors the treasurer's. The senior clerk position remains preserved and just brought up to the step that it would be under the clerical union. The rentals and leases, that doesn't change. And actually, the expenses don't change at all on that. So I really did in the spirit of zero-based budgeting and in the spirit of trying to be fiscally conservative, and a dollar that I take that I don't need is a dollar that the fire chief was just here talking about public safety, the safety of his personnel. So we really did try to cut it down as low as we could, because a dollar that I take is a dollar somebody else can't. So in the spirit of that, we really did try to be good partners here. Was there any questions or feedback on the expenses for the collector side?
One clarification, and it's more for Ralph. The collector and treasurer clerk is 25 hours right now,
Yes.
and then the proposal is 0 with no exclusion, 12, 6 and 6 with exclusion. Is that the way I'm reading that?
For my recommendation?
Yeah.
Right, my recommendation is with no debt exclusion, the clerk, the town clerk position and the other, the collector, the senior clerk position, both of those are eliminated. And then, but with the debt exclusion, what you would see in the no debt exclusion is what I would have with the debt exclusion. So it would be a position with the 10 hours with the clerk and the I'm shifting around. I apologize for that. I'm pulling up the clerk. I'm looking at the national. So the senior clerk. If we get the debt exclusion, will be at 12 and a half. And then the senior clerk for the collector would be at 12 and a half. With no debt exclusion, my recommendation is the elimination of that position.
So just the difference then between yours and the department request on that position?
Or it's half, so
Yeah.
he's saying, would it go from a 12 and a half, 25 down to
So
6 and 6 and a quarter, 6 and a quarter, 12 and a half total?
So
it's half.
right, yeah. So we're let's say for the case point, the poll has the clerk at 77, 18, 37, with no debt exclusion, that's eliminated. Where I have, and then if you go with the debt exclusion, the clerk, where he has it at 1679.94, I would have that at the adjusted rate for contractual adjusted rate at $8,112.
So in essence, are we looking at, with the exclusion, you're going with Paul's exclusion
Yes.
numbers? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's an easy way to say thank you.
And how's this gonna affect? How's this gonna affect operations, Paul?
If I were to lose the position entirely, I cannot guarantee the operations of my office. If I would do my best, we would have to assess, because right now my office takes on a lot of duties, some of which are statutory requirements, some of which are not statutory requirements.
Yep.
For example, we have a statutory obligation to, pay our debt obligations, to issue tax bills, to reconcile cash, things of that nature. We have no statutory obligation to oversee health insurance, administer the benefit programs, or run payroll. So if we end up in a position where we have to choose between the things that I'm legally responsible for and things that we do that we're like not legally responsible for, we might have to start critically assessing the duties that our office is responsible for, and then playing triage as we need to, because we have to follow the law at the end of the day is our most important responsibility. And if we can't fulfill every mission that we currently do based on the staffing shortages, it's going to be a problem that falls to other departments.
Thank you.
Questions for Paul? Nope. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
My pleasure. Would you like to move on to tax title?
158.
158. I just left that at 5,000, and basically what will happen is I'm just going to encumber everything that's left over in my budget in the spring as I begin the process of securing all these liens. And so I'll have more than enough expenses to encumber my entire 5,000. And then once I use the other 5,000, I know that I'll have enough for that, because of the 120 delinquencies in FY25 that I have right now, I could probably get some of these folks to pay them off, because there's a few that are just, lagging small balances. A few who are already in tax title as well. That allows us to not have to do all the posting requirements because we can do just what's called a certification of subsequent tax title. Basically means folks that are already in tax title, they're not paying their current taxes. We can just scoop them from one bucket into the next without the rigmarole. It's the new people that require you to do the posting and the constable and all of that extra work. So I know for a fact that I have at least $10,000 worth of that to do. So I figure that I can encumber this 5,000 this year, spend the 5,000 from next year, and then that will at the very least will allow me to do anything that's getting close to that 3.5 year cutoff. And then for fiscal 28, I can look, see how much we have left, see how things are trending. And then, a year from now, I can let you know what we would need to button everything up. But I'm confident with 5,000 and what we've got left over for this year that we can get everything that needs to be done without too much, without any hassle.
Like you mentioned about having to get a constable being March, how will you have an issue getting it all done by June?
Yes, I don't think it'll actually be done by June, but as long as I begin the process and start the engagement, then I'll be able to encumber the funds over, as long as it's kind of like an in process transaction.
Hey, Paul, what kind of estimate do you have for unpaid property tax that, let's say, is more than a year old that's owed to the town?
Oh, I don't have it in front of me right now. I know that the FY25 outstandings were around 290,000.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Did you want me to jump down into long-term debt?
Yes, the 700s.
Uh, 710 is just our maturing principal on our long-term debt. That just represents the police station communications building and the WPAT notice. WPAT was the old name for what's now the Massachusetts Clean Water Trust. That was a loan, interest-free loan that we received from DEP in order to fund our septic betterment program. And so that basically just represents our payment there. And that 6668 is actually transferred out of the folks that are paying back their betterment. So as betterments get paid off, that money gets transferred over to pay that expense. That 235 is the principal on the police station. That is our only interest-bearing long-term debt. So the next one into 751 is that represents our interest there. Our retirement and pension contributions, that's just our assessment that we get from Bristol County Retirement. And that we have those numbers in. So those are accurate numbers. Group health insurance. This one, based on the news that we received today, we might be able to revise. And if you'd like, I'd be happy to work out some numbers and send them to Ralph that he could provide at maybe tomorrow's meeting or the one after that. The reason for that is that we were told to expect anywhere between 12 and 14% increases at one point. Then we were told to expect between 10 and 12% increases. About a year ago or so, I actually was fortunate enough to become vice chairman of SMHG, our health insurance group, which is good because it's given the town the ability to kind of emphasize some of our needs in the way that the group looks at its surplus draw on its trust fund. So just at our meeting this morning, we were quoted a 9.7% renewal rate from Blue Cross that we were able to actually buy down by drawing on our excess funds with the group's trust. The SMHG currently has an approximately $10.7 million trust, of which we've drawn on $1 million in order to buy down our premium expense. So by putting that in play, we've actually dropped that all the way down to 7.5%. And as I've discussed in previous years, this budget number does not actually represent the true spend on health insurance. Based on the renewal rates that we'd received, I would expect our actual true dollars for dollars spend on employees based on the March enrollment to be approximately 1.5 million dollars of the town share. And that's based on the town's portion, based on FY27 rates and present day enrollment. And one of the things that I do believe that Ralph mentioned, exploring the possibility in the future of looking at introducing additional plans. SMHG actually has introduced a higher deductible HSA plan. I will leave that to the selectmen and the town administrator and maybe labor council to determine if that represents a plan and change design that would need to be bargained through the IAC. But we do have some options to through SMHG where there are some higher deductible plans that are available. And that could be a fairly easy bargain if it didn't involve sunsetting the pre-existing plans, if it was just offered in addition to what's already offered without any modification of the price point, which is possible. That might represent hopefully some low-hanging fruit. So I'd say that roughly about 1.5 million of this number is our actual true spend. It'll be a little bit lower because I haven't calculated it, and I based off the 9.7% rate that I've been quoted earlier. So say maybe 1.4%, 1.4 million is probably about our true spend. The rest of that money represents a buffer to absorb qualifying life events, because you do have a good handful of those. Folks that a single individual gets married, goes from an individual plan to a family plan, or somebody who has family coverage through their spouse changes jobs, now they pick up the family plan. So under the Affordable Care Act, those are called qualifying life events that allow folks to pick up coverage mid-year. So I do like to include a buffer of 5, 6, 7 family plans, which might be overkill, but I figured it's a contractual obligation. It's something that we have to provide. It's one of those lines that can never be negative. And so if there are additional thoughts, or once I update the spreadsheet with that increase, if Ralph and the selectmen and the FinCom want to make tweaks to that number, I'm amenable, but I can get you as close to what I'd project our true spend is based on current enrollment. I can get you that this week. Is there any questions on health insurance before I moved on?
No.
All righty. And then group life insurance, 915. This one is that's just another contractual benefit. We pay 50% of the group life insurance policy that we offer to every employee. It's $2 per person per month. And for the retirees, it's $1 a month, $1.01 a month. You see, not a ton of people have it, but we do have some folks who've picked it up. And this just represents our share of that. I know that I've over budgeted it by a little bit based on the current spend. But again, qualifying life events, folks come in, and at the time that I had originally bumped this up to $1,500, Boston Mutual was looking at reassessing our rates. They hadn't changed their rates in a long time, and we didn't know what they were going to be. So I put it at $1,500, and since we seem to finish every year somewhere in like the mid to high 80s on this, it felt close enough for the small dollars that it represented. If we wanted to play with this number and bring it down to 1,300, I don't think that would be the end of the world, but I don't know how granular we want to be with the benefit lines. And then 916 for employer contributions. This is just our share of Medicare. We're required to pay that 1.45% of our gross payroll for Medicare. This just represents our Medicare contributions. I increased it by 4.76%. I did that because I know that while wages are obviously not going to be increasing grand total by 4.76%, I know that there are several unions that are getting raises. I know that there's some individuals with contracts will be getting raises, and I know that as we heard from the chief earlier, there are staffing issues that lead to driving up overtime sometimes for public safety departments, and so I figured that 4.76% as an increase I wanted to make sure that we stay ahead of that, because as you might recall, that was one of the lines that did go negative a couple of years ago. Because as the end of the fiscal year, I know that can kind of spike based on where things are at. So I just wanted to make sure that we had enough padding there to sustain it.
Regarding the group life insurance, what's the death benefit that employees can get without having to show insurability? And are they able to keep that through retirement? Does the death benefit fall or rise, or do they have to pay additional premium? And does that premium stay at a fixed amount?
Yeah, great questions, Doug. So it's the grand total. We pay half of the $4.04 premium per month for active employees for $4,000 worth of death, and then $4,000 worth of AD&D. And then at retirement, that goes down to $2.02, and then the coverage goes down to $2,000.
Okay. And are they able to buy up more if they want to contribute some of their payroll through the cafeteria plan?
They can. It is through Boston Mutual. It's not through their group program. It's through what they call their worksite division. But Boston Mutual's worksite division does allow for employees to purchase additional life and disability, cancer insurance, so forth. They are able to do that and pay for it as payroll contributions. And the worksite, unlike the group, the worksite coverage is portable, so they can take it with them when they leave if they choose to.
That's all I have.
Did anybody else have any questions?
Nope, not on that.
All right, awesome. Well, I believe that does it for my budget. And I thank you all very much for the opportunity to be with you this evening. And I regret not being able to be there in person. And I look forward to seeing you all live sometime again soon.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
It's the last one, right?
No. Yeah.
Great. This Thursday. 2 days. 2 days, yeah. April 16th is narrowly set for April 16th.
Motion to adjourn?
Step down as chair in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Second. All in favor? Aye. 2 days. Yeah, today.
Make out with all the snow.
Oh, fine.
Yeah,
How about you
good.
guys?
Very good. Yeah, yeah. I kind of enjoyed going out there and
Oh,
taking
so
care
on.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was good.
Do something. I didn't